Panther people, what up? The schedule is out. That means I'm going to be making some blind assumptions about how this team is going to do heading into the 2024-25 season. Let's freaking go. No primetime games for these Carolina Panthers. It's a business. They want to get people to watch. No one's going to watch the Carolina Panthers after the doo-doo season they put up out there. We need to prove it. We need to prove it in multiple ways that we're an actual football team that's professional, that we're competitive, and that we know how to groom a quarterback and we know how to take care of the quarterback. And I think we are going to surprise some people. But I will say, this is going to be a tale of two seasons. This season before the bye and season after the bye. Before the bye, I know it's odd to put a lot more pressure on a rookie quarterback in the beginning because you would think that everyone starts getting the flow of things, getting into this groove, and starting to understand what he wants out of the team offensively, defensively, as a whole. But I think in terms of the opposition that the Panthers are going to be facing before the bye week gives them a better opportunity to win with what we have in hand. Obviously, we've talked about it ad nauseum now. I think the Panthers are built the right way compared to last year, right up the middle. You got guys who are aligned with the Giro Evero on defense. It's another year under Giro Evero as a defensive coordinator. I think that's only going to get better. And if guys like J.C. Horn stay healthy, I think the Panthers are going to compete. So either way, so I think especially starting up the season at New Orleans, it's going to be hot. It's going to be crazy. People are going to get mental. It's going to be at the Mercedes Dome or whatever they call it these days. I don't care. That's a toss-up game because Derek Carr's there. He knows his defense, but this defense knows him as well now, especially under Giro Evero. Dave Canales, I think he's going to come out firing. The pressure is absolutely on him, not on Dennis Allen. He wants to come out fireworks. I think he wants to be competitive, but also at the same time learn. But I think he's got to stretch things out and he's got to make things happen. He wants to get people talking. He knows they're getting some disrespect, and I know he's going to preach one game at a time, one down at a time, yada yada yada. But I think that he's going to want to come out firing. I think the Panthers are going to come out firing, and they're going to show their new look offense, their beefed up offensive and defensive line. Derek Brown's got paid. Brian Burns not in the building. It's Derek Brown's defense. I think the Panthers win that game. They then welcome Justin Herbert and company at Bank of America Stadium. Now, again, you want to face a team like that has Super Bowl aspirations early, the same way that you want to play our team this early because they're still trying to figure out their head coach. But we don't have Super Bowl aspirations. They do. A lot more pressure on the Chargers not to lose a game to the lowly Carolina Panthers. So I think this one could be a tight one, but I think it's going to end up being a Chargers win. It could be a narrow one. I could totally see a Ladd McConkey breakaway touchdown. I could see that in the cards for sure. They then go to Las Vegas. I think this is a winnable game. They have the quarterbacks that aren't scaring anybody right now. And Gardner Minshew, we know he can sling it. Of course, there's that crowd who wanted Gardner Minshew to be a Carolina Panther, but that's not happening. But I think that's a win. Then go back home to take on the Bengals. I think that's a loss. I think the Bengals are always going to be a Super Bowl team if they still have guys like Joe Burrow at the helm and the wide receiver core that they do have. So I think that is going to be, unfortunately, a loss. So right now we got the Panthers at 500. Go to Chicago. And I talked about this earlier. They need to win this game. This is the most important game. This is if you talk about ego, and many people say put your ego to the side. This is for a franchise because David Tepper, he's a proud man. We know that. If you get blown out by a rookie that you could have technically had if you had maybe kept Sam Darnold and you continued to tank and you got Caleb Williams and who has DJ Moore, but that's the other thing. For those guys who think that we could have had Caleb Williams, if we didn't do the trade and you had Sam Darnold and you still had DJ Moore, I don't think you're going to lose as many games as we did last year and you qualify for Caleb Williams. I don't think so. If you have Sam Darnold and you have DJ Moore and you weren't selling the farm and you didn't trade, Christian McCaffrey, I think you still get maybe 5 wins. I still think you get 5 wins. And I don't think that's going to get you Caleb Williams. Either way, this is the way the trade played out. If you want egg on your face, it's not like the Panthers are the bad guys here. If anything, we're the sore losers. If you want to give a narrative to anything here, even though I do believe in Bryce Young, I believe in Dave Canales, you can't lose this game. You need to show the world that you picked the right guy. And hopefully by this point, 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks have passed. Over a month now, football. Hopefully Bryce gets the system Dave Canales trying to implement. Hopefully the game has slowed down enough for him. Same with Xavier. Deontay Johnson's going to be awesome as well. Jonathan Brooks, maybe he's healthy. You got to show up and show out against the Bears. You got to beat them. It's kind of weird that you have to beat a rookie quarterback to prove that your second-year quarterback is worth it. But we need just narrative wise on the surface, you got to do it. I think the Panthers are going to do it. I think they're going to rally around Bryce because if they lose this game, the question, and if they lose in horrible fashion, like Bryce has an awful game, like the Bears scheme a perfect game plan for Bryce, they shut him down. Caleb Williams blows up and throws for 459 yards, and DJ Moore has 3 touchdowns, and Cole Kmet has, truck sticks, Juicy Jewel, and his head breaks off. All the blame is going to be on Bryce Young, all of it. And the talks about trading him, drafting a quarterback, doing all tanking from the season, that's when it's going to start. And I think everyone likes Bryce. I think they love Bryce. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they win one for Bryce. From the Atlanta Falcons, that's going to be a letdown game. Yeah, it's divisional, but you're going to have this emotional game against the Chicago Bears. Atlanta's going to come home. Kirk Cousins, he always has the Panthers number. That's a loss. You go to Washington, Jaden Daniels, rookie quarterback. It's a team that looks good on paper. That's all former friggin' Carolina Panthers, right? Frankie Louvu is on the team. And you got Jeremy Chin. It's a revenge game for those guys. It's another prove it game for the Carolina Panthers. They make the right decision letting these guys go, not paying Frankie Louvu, not using Jeremy Chin. I think they could probably lose that game. I think Jaden Daniels can do some things. I think the defense will have something to prove and probably can't wait to lay a lick on Bryce. But then I think they go to Denver and then they beat Bo Nix and Denver Broncos. Go back home, welcome to New Orleans Saints. I think with the division stuff, you could probably split it. Then you go to Germany to take on Brian Burns and the Giants in Munich. I think the Panthers win that game. I just think the Panthers are a better team. I just do. I think the Panthers win. I think Brian Burns could maybe take over the game, but I could also see him going wild on social media and doing his thing and not focusing on the game. And he comes to the game and then he gets double blocked by Rob Hunt and Damon Jones, and then they just completely lock him out of the game. And then Tavon Thibodeau, maybe he takes over the game as well. But I think the Panthers win that game. Daniel Jones again, he's on a prove it year. Is he going to be on that team next year? Probably not. So I see the Panthers actually winning in Germany, taking the bye. KC, I think that could be a grinder of a game, but KC's going to win that game. But I think it's a grinder. It's a grinder of a game. I think they're going to underestimate the Panthers a little bit. Maybe the Panthers finally find their stride. They beat Chicago. They rally around Bryce. They beat the Giants. Brian Burns, he's in his place. We're in our place. And I think they compete against Kansas City Chiefs because I remember the Panthers played the Chiefs well with Teddy Bridgewater, and that was one of the highlights of the COVID year, even though a completely different team now. Tampa Bay, taking on Dave Canales and the Carolina Panthers. I think Panthers win that game just out of support for Dave. You go to Philly. I don't believe too much in the Philadelphia Eagles. I really don't. I think they're kind of fragile foundationally. I just think something's up. I think the window is closing on them more than they actually know. But the Panthers, again, I think it's a hostile territory. It's going to be a tough game. Panthers lose. Then they go on Dallas. Dallas perpetually, they're like the Toronto Maple Leafs of the NFL, perpetually celebrated. They're the best times were decades ago for them. Still Super Bowl aspirations, they say, at least on paper. I think the Panthers could take them. Then they take on the Arizona Cardinals back at home. Back-to-back games at home. That's their last home game. They want a good taste in fans' mouths. Marvin Harrison Jr., I think that's going to be the matchup. Marvin Harrison Jr. and J.C. Horn. If that's good, if J.C. Horn wins that, I think the Panthers win that game. Who's in Tampa and then maybe end the season on a win in Atlanta? We'll see. How many wins we got? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 7 wins. That sounds like a little too rich for me. I think they probably lose at Philly. They lose Dallas. They beat Arizona. And then they lose to Tampa. And a bubble. I'm going to say Atlanta might be fighting maybe to try to win the division. And so they lose to that. So 6 wins for the Panthers. They beat the Saints in week 1 to get Dave Canales a 1-0 season. So thus far, they lose to the Chargers. They beat the Vegas Raiders because I still think they're a little bit in transition. They beat Chicago for Bryce. They beat Denver because I think they lose to Washington because of the revenge game for basically the Commanders' entire defense. They beat the Giants as like a prove it to Brian Burns and to themselves. And they beat the Cardinals because I just don't think they're very good. And I think they can rattle. They can get in the middle of Kyler Murray's face. So that's 6 wins for the Panthers. Good enough for who knows? If there are games that I think that maybe they can squeak out wins 100%, it could be the Commanders, which would bring it to 7 wins. They could maybe sweep the Saints in the series. And then maybe this is the end of the Dak Prescott era and they beat Dallas and they go for 8 wins and everyone's ecstatic. And then the year after that, they're trading for T. Higgins. They're doing all this stuff. They're ready to go. They're going Super Bowl, baby. And so I think conservative, 6 wins. Very, very optimistic, 8. Let me know what you guys think. I actually don't care. We don't have any primetime games because waiting around till 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock like I am right now to vlog sucks, especially if your kid is up at 6 a.m. anyways and he doesn't care you haven't slept. So let me know what you guys think. 6 wins. That'd be triple our win total from last year. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe. I appreciate you guys. Season's coming. I feel good. Are we going to get a winning season for the first time since I started this vlog? I don't know. See you guys soon.